Saturday! Hello, hello, hello. Nice to have you with us. And
What? What?
no, it looks ridiculous.
It's beautiful. Who does not want to wear a black swan?
It looks like you've got a swan sitting on your lap.
Cute, man. Isn't it gorgeous? I love picture knits. I just think they're so kind of...
What?
Picture knits. It's a picture on a jersey, hence a picture knit. I find them very kind of fun and exciting, and I love them.
I think it just looks so friggin' stupid.
It's beautiful.
And that lipstick's too pink as well.
You know, normally I'd slap you for that, but he's actually right. But it didn't look this pink in the toilet when I put it on.
Is that what he said?
You see, it's going to be one of those. How are you going to drag this conversation back to the point that I want to keep having it?
So
So,
we'll find out tomorrow
oh,
whether we're in for another. What's your gut feel?
oh, crumbs. I don't want to upset anybody.
My gut feel is he's going to extend it.
I think he's going to have to because the numbers haven't leveled out.
Hmm.
And you know what that means?
What?
It means that even though I went through lockdown 1 without doing it, and lockdown 2 without doing it, and all of the waves, like, woo, I might have to bake something.
Oh, don't come with the bread thing again.
I never baked anything. Other people I respected as manly men and womanly women were going, oh, you must look at my sourdough, and I've been growing the culture. And I'm like, what's that? Why don't you just buy a loaf? And you can get them ready sliced. It's the most low-maintenance food.
For the first time, when was it? Sometime during the week.
Yeah.
I had to go into the Spar to get some stuff. And there they were again. Pineapples.
Oh, my word. Do you remember this
Swear.
time last year everyone was making pineapple beer?
Yeah.
Is the yeast still on sale? That's the question. Do you remember how we made pineapple beer in Tony Morell's office? And then we forgot and left it there.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure, we were lucky, eh?
We were.
We really were, because if that had blown up.
Yeah. And I hadn't, because we were only meant to leave it there for 2 days.
And then we forgot.
And then we forgot about it.
We have so much on our minds.
Yeah.
We just made it in a bucket.
And I hadn't put a tube into it.
No.
Into water, so it could get rid of the gas. And then suddenly the one day, I think it was on day number about 7, 8.
No, it wasn't as long as that. Because remember, we did it on the Wednesday before, and then we were going to check it on the Friday, but we went home early.
Oh, that's right.
And then we'd forgotten it by the Monday. I think it was Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. So it was about a week.
Yeah,
almost.
probably about a week, yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't a big canister.
No.
Because we were just making a small portion of pineapple beer. Man, we got there.
Whew.
And had that canister done what a lot of people did in COVID, just went like that. No, but you remember,
I do.
in the first lockdown,
Flip.
people came out of that first lockdown, the hard lockdown, and you'd walk past somebody, you didn't recognize them first because they had a mask on. And they were also...
And that's why leisure wear, athleisure is what they called it,
Yes.
made such a big comeback. Because if I was Woolworths at the time, I wouldn't have got tens. Because do you remember, I think, who was it, which minister was it, who said that we couldn't wear open-toed shoes? We couldn't have open-toed shoes.
I
What's
can't
his name?
remember.
Patel. Ibrahim Patel.
Ibrahim Patel.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but if I was Woolworths, I wouldn't have cared two figs about that. I would have just kept bringing in bigger and bigger sweatpants.
Yeah.
So I think they normally go from like a size 6 through to about a 20. I would have started a special range that started in 18 and went to how high is up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah?
Because, I mean, people were just eating themselves
I
out of
know.
COVID.
And it was, and then making more food to eat.
Yes.
So not only were they buying all of the food,
Yeah.
they were making more bread. Because have you noticed in COVID, nobody started growing their own vegetables. They just started making more carbohydrates.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't, okay, we're in lockdown. We're going to create a vegetable garden.
No, it wasn't that.
No.
It was like, how much more?
Let's make bread!
How much more yeast and flour can we shove down our gullets? So there was that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then the hobbies. of which I am 100% in the vanguard because I just knitted. I was so stressed. I just knitted. I knitted for everyone. I knitted at least 3 jerseys, beanies, oh my word. My kids were like, Mommy, we don't need anything else. I'm like, wear the jersey that Mummy has made.
And puzzles.
Oh, but I still do those.
Yeah, I know, but you've always done them.
I know.
But people were making like 1,000-piece puzzles.
Amateurs.
Yeah, and what's the biggest puzzle you've ever made?
2,500.
Blocksome. How big's that?
Like big. So
Is it like big, eh?
It's like big. It's like the size of. It's like the width of my dining room table.
Okay, there you go. Everyone knows the Sam's width of a dining room table.
I'd say it was about this wide, but there's no point saying that to you because that's what you've said to lots of people, and it was very small. But it was quite wide, and it was just before Christmas. Not Christmas. What am I talking about?
Just before Christmas.
Just before Easter.
Okay.
Just before
First
Easter.
lockdown didn't last that long.
No, just before Easter. And we were going to try and like have an Easter lunch. And Martin said, you need to clear this puzzle off the dining room table. I said, but I haven't finished it. And so we put a towel over the puzzle. No, excuse me, I'm very resourceful. So we put a towel over the puzzle, and then we put a blanket over the towel, and then we put a tablecloth over the blanket. And we kind of had squidgy meal. Yes. So when you pushed your plate down.
Nobody ate that much that particular meal. They all got seasick. Watching the plate.
I know, right? And people were so crazy. Like they would do crazy things to find these little loopholes. I was doing a focus, like a support group for people who weren't coping with COVID, and the only rule was that nobody was allowed to be rude to anybody, and nobody was allowed to attack anybody else's beliefs.
It's 2 rules. That's 2 rules. You said the rule was, and then you gave 2. You're a typical woman. There's one thing you're not allowed to do, and that's that, and that, and that.
Well, you learned, didn't you?
Please.
Anyway. And her massive meltdown was that she couldn't get her nails done. So she snuck out clandestinely, or clandestinely, I'm not sure. And she snuck out and met her nail technician in the car.
In the car?
Yeah, because you couldn't go out at all. So she snuck out and she met her in the car in her driveway. And they did her nails in the back seat. Because you couldn't visit anyone, remember?
I've forgotten what happened then, actually. I think my mind's put it in a box and thrown it away.
Well, that wasn't the fun part, but bread. So I'm going to just see what happens tomorrow night. And if it doesn't go well, I'm going to buy some sourdough. But I can't make beer. I mean, as it was, I hadn't had a drink for nearly 19 years when he made that beer. And I think I was tipsy just from smelling it last year. Wow, that was potent.
So next Saturday, you bring sourdough bread to...
No, I'm just going to get the sourdough because he might... You never know, the numbers might plunge in the next week. I like to be glass half full. Although it looks like I'm going to be oven completely full next week. Don't you have a joke or something? I mean, I know you aren't going to the Rose, so pickings are thin.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've got a bread joke.
What's the bread joke? Why am I saying this? I know I'm going to regret it.
Okay, so the bread joke is the head of McDonald's goes to the Pope. And he says to the Pope, or your eminence, would it be your eminence? Can you remember? I'm a bad Catholic. Your eminence. We would really love it if...
Holy Father.
If you would change
Please
the words
release me from this.
To the Lord's Prayer to give us this day our daily burger instead of give us this day our daily bread.
What?
So the Pope goes, I absolutely cannot do that. That is the Lord's Prayer as written by the Lord. And there's no way we can change that. That's just not even going to happen. And the head of McDonald's goes, well, we'll give you 3% of gross profits for the rest of time if you change that. So he goes, well, how much is that? Like billions and trillions and Brazilians. So the Pope says, well, I've got to go back to the cardinals and I'll find out from them and come back to you. You finished. Anyway, it's a funny joke. Anyway, so he goes to the Cardinals and he says, I've got some good news and some bad news. He says the bad news is, the good news is, that's right, the good news is that we're going to make billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of euros and dollars and pounds. The bad news is we've got to cancel the Blue Ribbon contract. See why that's funny? Because Blue Ribbon is a bread. You've no appreciation. I'm not bringing you any bread. I hope it falls on your face. Anyway, that was my joke.
Bye.
If you'd like me to tell any more jokes, you must just, email us info@mansfieldtoday.com. If you want me to tell any more jokes. If you want Jeremy to stop telling the jokes, you can also let us know there. If you've got any ideas for jokes, you're more than welcome to send them through. I'm happy to tell them if you think I do a better job than Jeremy. Or any good recipes for bread or pineapple beer, I'll give them to Jeremy. He'll make them all before the next program. I think that's enough for today.
Goodbye.
Bye.